Hello, welcome to the morning edition of MBC News, and you are with me, Evelis Chingambe. Coming up this morning, President Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika is expected to receive letters of credence from Ambassador-designate of Japan, Naito Yasushi, this morning. Government orders contractor responsible for Nsanje Maka Border Road to rebuild the project. And in sports, Minister of Sports to lobby for increased funding to complete several high-profile stalled sports projects. Thank you for joining us. Now the news in detail. President Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika is expected to receive letters of credence from Ambassador-designate of Japan, Naito Yasushi, this morning. According to a press statement from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, the event is expected to start from 11 a.m. at the Kamuzu Palace in Lilongwe. Malawi has received a consignment of relief items from Zimbabwe, which will facilitate the recovery process for disaster-affected households. The relief items include 300 tons of sorghum, cooking oil, sugar, tents, blankets, among other items. Minister of Foreign Affairs George Chaponda has since commended the government of Zimbabwe for helping the recovery efforts for those affected by natural disasters. We have a report.
The relief items which have been mobilized by the government of Zimbabwe are expected to support victims of natural disasters such as drought and floods which undermined crop production last year. Zimbabwean High Commissioner to Malawi, Nancy Saungweme, says Zimbabwe heeded the call because of the strong bonds between the two nations.
Malawi and Zimbabwe, as you are aware, we are just one family. We have got very strong ties. So obviously, when the president heard of it, that was the first call, the first place he wanted to help, and that's Malawi.
And Malawi's Minister of Foreign Affairs, George Chaponda, has hailed the Zimbabwean government for the support, describing it as critical for building resilience of the affected households.
They say a friend in need is a friend indeed, and they have not only done that, but they've come with these trucks with a variety of items which will go very far to alleviate the suffering of the people in the villages, in the communities. What is more gratifying is that we are also told that there are another load of trucks which are coming with other food items. We are most grateful.
Chief Secretary to the government, Justin Saidi, has since highlighted that government is making progress in meeting the national response targets. Government has so far raised 138.4 billion kwacha out of the targeted 209.4 billion kwacha meant to support the identified 4 million households across the country. And following the incessant rains this year which affected over 36,000 households, government has also raised 4.6 billion kwacha out of the targeted 8.6 billion kwacha to support those affected by the floods. Trust Office, MBC News, Lilongwe.
Mzuzu City Council has distributed over 1,050 kilogram bags of maize to hunger-affected households in Mzuzu. The city's mayor, Chembegiso Moses, said this in Mzuzu during the launch of the lean season food distribution program. Chikondi Pompi has compiled this report, being read by Blessings Gondoi.
To support households that are food insecure in Mzuzu, government through Mzuzu City Council has started distributing maize to the affected households. Speaking at the launch, the city mayor, Chiembegezo Moses, has warned against the practice of selling relief maize to vendors and has vowed to make sure that only the affected households receive the maize.
We've already do our assessment, and that's why you see me, I'm here. I want to witness that the vulnerable people are going to receive the maize.
One beneficiary, Towela Mkolongo, has praised the government for the food assistance.
Mikakwambiri We are thankful for the maize, but unfortunately, our area is big. So we are requesting that the government helps us with more relief items.
Aimed at cushioning the vulnerable households in Mzuzu City, the program is expected to run for 3 months.
Government has warned against the sale of relief items, saying that the long arm of the law will take its course. A representative from the Office of the Chief Secretary, Rashid Nkhani, gave the warning when he led officials from the Department of Disaster Management Affairs, DODMA, in disaster response at Luchenza Municipality in Cholo District. We have a joint report by Charles Chindongo and Nkhani, being read by Romeo Omali.
Nkhani issued the stern warning after DODMA reached out to hundreds of people affected by hunger with the relief maize in Luchenza Municipality in Cholo District. According to Nkhani, the Disaster Risk Management Act criminalizes the selling of items that are meant for disaster relief, among other provisions.
They shouldn't, because to begin with, to be given that relief maize is because we've identified that there's hunger, they are vulnerable. But also there's the DRM Act, which actually prevent people from selling relief food. So the Act will caught up with them in an unfortunate situation, but we don't want things to reach that far.
Meanwhile, parliamentarian for the area, Chimwemwe, who is also the Minister of Lands and Urban Development, has commended the government for the swift response. He has since appealed for more humanitarian support, as over 6,000 people are in dire need of food assistance in the area.
Luchenza, the figure is around 8,000, and 1,200 is not enough. So we are appealing for, relevant stakeholders to assist us, so that we should mitigate the issues of hunger.
The latest Malawi Vulnerability Assessment Committee report indicates that over 4 million people are facing hunger from October 2025 to March this year. Reacting from that, President Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika declared a state of disaster in all 28 districts, including cities, appealing for humanitarian support from both local and international organizations, companies and well-wishers.
There is a high expectation of improved livelihood for 1,450 households from Chikwawa district after receiving financial support from Oxfam Malawi. The beneficiaries fall under the Integrated Emergency Response for El Nino and have received 184,000 kwacha each to purchase food and essential items of their choice. Chisomo Break with the details.
Oxfam's Humanitarian Coordinator Agnes Banda has urged the beneficiaries to utilize the money to cushion them from starvation and maintain human dignity.
We would want to encourage the beneficiaries to use this money with prudence to make sure that in the household they do not lack food. The main purpose is food. So they should be able to buy food, and they should be able to force children to go to school. They shouldn't stay back home because of no food in the household. So the first priority that they are supposed to do is to buy food for the children and for the household so that they are able to go to school with strength.
Some of the beneficiaries have lauded the cash transfer approach, saying that it will help them to meet the essential needs of their households. The project, among others, thrives to lessen dependency on harmful coping mechanisms, particularly for girls and women who are disproportionately affected by drought impacts. Chisomo Break, MBC News, Chikwawa.
The Roads Authority wishes to inform the public that following heavy rains experienced on Wednesday, the semi-permanent crossing point at Mpasazi was minimally affected, resulting in temporary traffic disruption due to water overtopping the access. In a statement, the authority wishes to inform the public that the crossing has been reopened and is being safely managed under single-lane traffic as repair works continue. The statement further advises the public to exercise caution when traveling. You're watching MBC News and you are with me, Evelis Chingambe. A reminder of our top stories. President Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika is expected to receive letters of credence from Ambassador-designate of Japan, Naito Yasushi, this morning. Government orders contractor responsible for Nsanje Maka border road to rebuild the project. And in sports, Minister of Sports to lobby for increased funding to complete several high-profile stalled sports projects. Welcome back. Minister of Transport and Public Works, Japi Mhango, has ordered the contractor who was in charge of constructing Nsanje Maka border road to rebuild the project. Speaking during an inspection of the infrastructure in the Shidewari, Mhango said it is worrisome that the contractor did substandard work on the road. We have a report.
Speaking after appreciating the 27 kilometers road, the minister noted that the load is of substandard quality. Mhango questioned the workmanship and he has since ordered officials from his ministry to liaise with the contractor to redo the work.
The stretch from Nsanje Boma going to Maka was poorly built. So the works there is substandard. And I have therefore asked the ministry to summon the contractor who was doing that work to redo the job, because that is what is provided for in our laws. If you don't do show the work, you take responsibility. How it is going to be done, the mechanics will be between the ministry and the one that did that project. They will discuss and find the best way how this matter should be resolved.
From Maka Road, the minister also toured the construction works of Maka Nsanje Bangula railway line. Here, the Transport and Public Works Minister said the current administration is geared to revitalize the transport sector by uplifting the rail transport industry. In his remarks, Senior Chief Tengano of Nsanje commended the minister for echoing their concerns about the quality of the Nsanje Maka border road.
Concerned with the quality of the road construction, and we've requested the minister to revisit the project. And our wish is that this road has to be rebuilt from scratch. It's a very substandard road, not befitting M1 road. So I've also complained to the minister that the rail project has taken too long. It started in 2018, and by now we should have been saying that goods are being offloaded at the Boma. But we are far from that. So I appeal to the minister to make sure that by August, September, he has to make sure that this section of the rail is being utilized.
The Nsanje Maka Road connects the countries of Malawi and Mozambique. Jeffrey Shinawa, MBC Nsanje.
In business, Portland Cement Malawi has officially reopened its Kanengo warehouse in Lilongwe, marking the company's full re-entry into the Central Region market after a brief closure that lasted several months. Miriam Kaliza has a report.
Making his remarks at the ceremony, Chief Executive Officer for Portland Cement, Jianguo Alex Liu, said the warehouse was previously closed because most cement production was consumed in the southern region, leaving no surplus for Lilongwe and surrounding areas. He said now that they have commissioned a new Balaka plant alongside the existing Makata facility, the company has enough capacity to supply the entire country and meet growing construction demands. Liu also reviewed plans to increase exports to neighboring countries. The Kanengo warehouse, with a storage capacity of about 3,000 metric tons, is expected to ensure steady cement availability and strengthen Portland Cement Malawi's distribution network. Liu expressed confidence that the company will regain market share in the central region.
So we have full confidence that to come back. So that is based on the ability of the company. So both Portland is first cement player in the country. Huaxin is also have more than 100 years history to do cement. And it's a group that not only have 150 million tons per year cement capacity, but also has its own equipment design and manufacture. We have the best cement plant in Malawi in terms of efficiency and cost control. So, and also for quality, more importantly, is for quality control.
Meanwhile, National Bank of Malawi Business Development Manager Chifundo Kamwinda said the bank has partnered with Portland Cement to streamline payments and provide business capital for mutual customers without collateral, enhancing ease of trade and market access.
So what National Bank is bringing in this partnership is, number one, to providing financing, and not just financing, but we are making it easier to them. We are also making it cheaper. Okay? I'm saying we are making it easier because ordinarily, for example, to access credit facility, be it a guarantee or working capital guarantee, they would require issues like collateral. So we are saying, because they are our mutual customers, we can be able to provide the same without collateral. But we're also saying we will be able to give them the payment guarantees and the credit facilities at a reduced pricing. So what we have done is taking the ordinary pricing that we charge an ordinary customer to get a payment guarantee. We have slashed it a bit to make it cheaper for the cement dealers, exclusively for Portland.
Portland Cement Malawi Limited is one of the oldest and most established cement producers in Malawi, originally set up in 1956, and in 2025 the company commissioned a major integrated cement plant in Balaka, marking a significant shift from simply grinding clinker to locally manufacturing clinker and cement. Miriam Kaliza, MBC News, Lilongwe.
Malawi is set to benefit from the Climate Compatible Growth (CCG) project, an initiative that seeks to align the country's minerals towards clean energy. CCG is an international development research and technical assistance project that helps countries pursue economic growth while simultaneously tackling climate change. Walby Maungolu reports.
Across the globe, governments are rethinking how to grow their economies without worsening climate risks. One approach gaining traction is the Climate Compatible Growth Project. According to research associate at Cambridge University, Dr. Sam Stevenson, for developing countries such as Malawi, the CCG approach presents a major opportunity by aligning mineral development with clean energy. Dr. Stevenson adds that countries can use minerals to grow their economies, create skilled jobs, finance climate adaptation, and support national energy transitions.
So the Climate Compatible Growth Project in Malawi is looking to understand how the development of a critical mineral sector in Malawi can support the wider economic development of the country, including how it interacts with different existing sectors, including energy, transport, and the different policies and government functions that already exist. We've been looking at the development of mining policies and also the role that royalties and taxation can play from the mining sector to the Malawi government. And we're really here to get a big picture understanding of the opportunities that the mining sector can provide for Malawi, but also the risks to the environment and the local communities, and begin to understand how we can bring that benefit to Malawi, bring those opportunities to the people of Malawi themselves, and mitigate the potential risks that exist in the mining sector.
As global demand for these minerals surges, countries that manage them sustainably will be best positioned to benefit from the green economy. Using tools such as data, modeling, and long-term planning tools, policymakers assess future scenarios and make informed choices that align with national development goals. Emmanuel Chimkaka, a lecturer in earth science at Malawi University of Science and Technology, MUST, added that the partnership has unearthed great research potential and will benefit Malawi as a country.
In the Climate Compatible Growth Project, we are working as a partner university with them to make sure that we are able to deliver the project goals, to make sure that we are able to assess and being able to see how the mining industry can benefit the local communities. So as a university, we are engaged in critical minerals research and also being able to provide policy direction to the government. So in this project, our main aim is to be able to contextualize the project, being able to put in the local understanding of how the mining sector is, and also provide guidance in this project to make sure that all the outcomes of the project are touching and linked.
For countries such as Malawi, climate-compatible growth offers a pathway to pursue national development agendas such as Malawi 2063, while strengthening resilience to climate change and improving access to international climate finance. For MBC News in Cholo, this is Waubi Mongulu.
And now in sports, Minister of Sports Patricia Whiskes has pledged to lobby for funding and work closely with the Ministry of Local Government to ensure the completion of stored sports projects, saying the facilities are crucial for youth development, nurturing talent and economic growth. Whiskes made the remarks after touring the aquatic centre at Bingu National Stadium in Lilongwe. Emmanuel Chikonso has more.
Hosting major international tournaments is not new territory for Malawi. From 2022 Region 5 Games to the Africa Netball Championship and several inter-country competitions, the country once stood tall on the strength of its sporting infrastructure. But that momentum is now under threat. Some of the facilities that helped Malawi shine on the region stage, including the Aquatic Center in Lilongwe, the Griffin Sainda Sports Complex, and the Civil Project Grounds, have either stalled in development or been temporarily closed, raising concerns about the future of sports development in the country. With new government, a new cabinet, and renewed promises, attention has turned to reviving these key national assets. After inspecting the Aquatic Center in Area 17 Lilongwe, Minister Whiskes acknowledged the challenges facing the facility, which requires about 1.5 billion kwacha to complete. She described the situation as a major setback to Malawi's sporting ambitions. The minister also toured the Bingu National Stadium, a flagship government project, where she assessed ongoing maintenance works and stressed the need to keep the facility at international standards. Whiskes said government remains committed to restoring and completing stored projects, emphasizing that sports infrastructure plays a vital role in developing young talent and driving economic growth.
So what we want to commit at the moment is to ensure its completion, because it is one of the very few facilities in the region, and at the moment it means we are depriving the Malawian community as well as the international community from holding games at the Aquatic Center. That is why as a ministry we think it is very, very pertinent that funds be allocated for the project in order for it to complete.
For now, there's renewed hope that political will could breathe new life into facilities that once placed Malawi firmly on the continental sporting map. Emmanuel Chikonso, MBC News, Lilongwe.
And that's it from our newsroom this morning. A recap of our top stories before we leave. President Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika is expected to receive letters of credence from Ambassador-designate of Japan, Naito Yasushi, this morning. Government orders contractor responsible for Nsanje Maka border road to rebuild the project. And in sports, Minister of Sports to lobby for increased funding to complete several high-profile stored sports projects. For more updates, visit MPC Digital on Facebook, X and Instagram. You've been with me, Evelis Jingambe. Thanks for watching and good morning.
Good morning and welcome. It's time for weather update. We should expect cloudy conditions coupled with heavy thunderstorms and rains mainly over the central and northern areas. Therefore, avoid crossing or driving through flooded waters. This is all due to the influence of the ITCZ, which is still active over the central and northern areas. Therefore, this morning we should expect partly cloudy conditions over the southern part, while cloudy conditions with localized thunderstorms and rains, which are going to be heavy over some areas like Karonga, Shitipa, as well as lakeshore areas. Mild conditions also expected across most areas, whereby Zuzu is expected to reach a minimum temperature of 16 degrees Celsius, while Lilongwe and Blantyre will reach 18 degrees Celsius. In the afternoon, hot conditions are expected over most areas, whereby Karonga is expected to reach a maximum temperature of 30 degrees Celsius, so too with Mangochi, but in Gabu and in Sanje will reach a maximum temperature of 33 degrees Celsius. In the afternoon again, partly cloudy conditions with isolated thunderstorms and rains are expected over the southern part of our country, while for the central and northern parts we should expect cloudy conditions with thunderstorms and rains, which are going to be heavy over some areas like Karonga, Shitipa, as well as Nkata Bay. Thanks for watching. I'm Charity Mapondo. Be wise, be weather-wise.
Sabara ino mu program ya Woman Talk.
Sadziwika